Hello friends. What happens when fire meets air, when the poised, calculating Aries Snake crosses paths with the playful, Quicksilver Gemini Pig? It sounds like an unlikely alchemy, a serpent of focus and instinct coiling around a restless, laughing creature of wind and earth. Yet somehow, against all odds, these two can ignite a connection that's as fascinating as it is unpredictable. After watching, if you'd like to support the channel, click the Thanks button right under this video or use the donation alerts link in the description. Your support really helps me keep creating. And of course, if you enjoy the content, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks so much for being here. Now let's continue. Let's unravel their story, in love, in life, in business, and in the hidden corners of their souls. Love. At first glance, the Aries Snake is hypnotized by Gemini Pig's effortless charm, but this is not the kind of fascination that fades overnight. It's the slow, magnetic pull of two opposite worlds trying to understand each other. The pig's laughter, free and genuine, rolls through a room like sunlight through stained glass. They speak to everyone, the waiter, the stranger in line, the child with ice cream, with a warmth that feels unmanufactured. They make connection look easy, almost sacred in its simplicity. To the Aries Snake, whose movements are deliberate and whose mind operates in complex emotional patterns, this kind of openness feels both breathtaking and dangerous. The snake has spent years mastering the art of emotional control, learning that vulnerability can sting like poison. Yet here stands the Gemini Pig, unarmored and radiant, undoing those defenses with nothing more than a smile. The snake, born under Aries, does not fall halfway. When they love, they do so like a soldier entering battle, fully committed, ready to win or die trying. Love, for the snake, is an act of destiny. They believe in the magnetic threads that pull souls together, in timing that feels written in the stars. They don't flirt for the sake of attention. They flirt with purpose, with a goal that feels divine. To them, every shared glance is a promise, every kiss a vow. But the Gemini Pig? They move through affection the way wind moves through leaves, lightly, joyfully, unable to be contained. Their love is not a destination but a journey, not a conquest but a dance. They talk endlessly, about the universe, about art, about the strange dreams they had as children. One minute they're quoting poets, the next, they're laughing at something absurd on their phone. The snake listens, half amused and half dazzled, wondering how someone so whimsical can also be so deeply alive. When they meet, the chemistry is impossible to ignore. The Aries Snake radiates a quiet kind of danger, that slow, confident composure that makes people turn their heads. Their eyes are intense, their voice low and deliberate, every word measured like a move on a chessboard. The Gemini Pig feels that intensity instantly and is drawn in like a moth to the flicker of a candle. But unlike others who might shy away from the snake's mysterious energy, the pig isn't intimidated, they're intrigued. They poke at the snake's silence with jokes, stories, and playful teasing until laughter cracks through the armor. The snake, who often hides emotion behind strategy, finds themselves disarmed. They're not used to someone who refuses to play by their rules. The first stage of their love is pure fascination. The snake studies the pig, the way their eyes brighten when they talk about something they love, the way they seem to belong everywhere and nowhere at once. They envy that lightness, that untamed joy. The pig, on the other hand, feels safe in the snake's stillness. There's something grounding about the snake's gaze, something that says, "You are seen, even in your chaos." In those moments, they complement each other perfectly, air feeding fire, laughter calming intensity. Together they create a balance neither knew they needed. But beneath that beauty lurks a tension. The Aries Snake, though patient on the surface, carries within them an instinct to claim, to own. When they love like a collector of rare art. Each moment, each memory, each touch is catalogued and treasured. They want to understand their partner completely, to predict their moods, to anticipate every desire. The Gemini Pig, however, resists ownership. Their spirit thrives in freedom. Their curiosity demands movement. The more the snake tries to contain them, the faster they slip through fingers like sand. They don't mean to hurt, it's simply their nature. They were born to explore, not to stay still. This dynamic creates a storm of emotion. The snake begins to question, do they truly love me, or do they love the idea of love? The pig wonders, why must love feel like a test? Why can't it just be joy? Both questions are valid, yet neither can be answered without sacrifice. The snake must uncoil, learning that trust is not weakness. The pig must anchor, realizing that freedom doesn't mean emotional distance. If they manage this dance, this eternal push and pull, their love transforms from a game of power into a living, breathing partnership. The beauty of their connection lies in contrast. The snake offers depth, the pig offers spontaneity. The snake teaches focus, the pig teaches surrender. Together, they expand each other's emotional vocabulary. The snake learns that laughter can heal what logic cannot, and the pig learns that silence can be a form of devotion. When they argue, and they will, their fights are not petty. The snake argues with precision, dissecting every word. The pig, emotional and expressive, argues like a storm. But even in anger, there is passion. The snake may retreat, brooding in silence, only for the pig to burst in minutes later with tears, apologies, and laughter all tangled together. That's how they are, dramatic, alive, unforgettable. In quieter moments, their love becomes poetry. The snake cooks dinner, slow and deliberate, while the pig hums songs and tells stories about their day. They share long talks under dim light, discussing the universe, fate, and what it means to truly know another person. The snake listens, tracing the lines of the pig's hands, thinking how strange it is that something so wild could feel like home. The pig watches the snake's eyes soften and realizes they've found someone who sees through their jokes and into their soul. And yet, danger always lingers when love becomes habit. The snake's possessiveness can turn subtle. A question disguised as concern, a look that carries too much weight. The pig senses it and starts to rebel in small ways, being late, forgetting to text, creating chaos just to feel free again. That's their paradox. They crave affection but fear dependence. The snake, meanwhile, feels each withdrawal like a wound, misinterpreting space as rejection. If they don't learn to communicate openly, they risk unraveling the very magic that brought them together. For this love to endure, both must evolve. The Aries snake has to trust that letting go doesn't mean losing. The Gemini pig must learn that staying doesn't mean surrendering freedom. When they manage this balance, fire contained but never extinguished, air flowing but never escaping entirely, their love becomes something rare. A partnership where intensity meets joy and mystery meets laughter. At its best, their love feels cinematic, full of sparks, passion, late-night drives, whispered promises, and moments that leave both trembling. At its worst, it's a maze of miscommunication, with one partner chasing while the other flees. But even in chaos, their connection never fades completely. They always find their way back, drawn by that same irresistible gravity that started it all. Because deep down, the Aries snake doesn't just want control, they want meaning. And the Gemini pig doesn't just want freedom, they want to be understood. When they finally realize that both desires can coexist, love becomes not a battlefield, but a universe. Love here survives only when both understand that control kills curiosity, and that curiosity, when cherished, keeps the heart forever young. Marriage. A marriage between Aries snake and Gemini pig is like a house designed under two suns, one rising, one setting, both radiant, both necessary, yet never shining from the same direction. To live together, they must learn not only to share light but to build shadow intentionally, to give each other room to exist as themselves. The snake, proud and deliberate, envisions marriage as a sacred covenant built on purpose, loyalty, and long-term vision. They see it as the ultimate partnership, not merely of hearts, but of strategies, goals, and legacies. Every decision, from where to live to how to invest, is calculated with an awareness of the future. They believe stability is love's truest expression. When the snake says, forever, they mean it with every fiber of their being. The Gemini pig, on the other hand, enters marriage like a breeze through open windows, laughing, curious, and full of warmth. To them, marriage is not a contract but a living adventure, something to be reimagined daily. They decorate life with spontaneity, surprise weekend trips, midnight pancakes, laughter over unwashed dishes. They make ordinary moments shimmer with life's electricity. Where the snake plans, the pig improvises. Where the snake calculates, the pig dreams. And at first, this contrast is intoxicating. The snake feels revitalized, reborn in the pig's lively chaos. The pig feels grounded, protected by the snake's calm and unwavering focus. Together, they can create a marriage that feels alive, a dance of intellect and instinct, discipline and delight. The snake provides the structure, the invisible scaffolding that keeps the relationship standing when storms come. The pig fills that structure with color and warmth, making every room echo with laughter. Their marriage, when it works, feels like a duet between two instruments that shouldn't harmonize but somehow do. Yet this harmony is fragile, always requiring tuning. Over time, differences emerge like cracks in marble. The Aries snake, accustomed to control, begins to feel uneasy with the pig's unpredictability. Plans change without warning, promises are delayed, and laughter sometimes replaces accountability. What the pig sees as spontaneity, the snake perceives as carelessness. The snake's inner fire flares, not in rage, but in an urgent need to restore order. They speak sharply, assert authority, and try to guide the relationship back into structure. But the pig hears control where the snake intends security. The more the snake tightens their grip, the more the pig wriggles free, chasing air, chasing light. The pig's emotional bursts, tears, excitement, sudden affection, sudden withdrawal, bewilder the snake, who prefers logic and consistency. They cannot understand why someone would love fiercely one morning and feel distant by evening. To the snake, that seems like emotional instability. To the pig, it's the natural rhythm of feeling. They are fluid, ever-changing, moved by invisible tides. The snake, steady and fiery, struggles to ride those waves without drowning in frustration. Yet despite these storms, there is profound potential here. When the snake learns flexibility, something miraculous happens. They stop fighting the current and start swimming with it. They discover that not every emotion needs solving, that chaos can coexist with commitment. And when the pig learns to respect boundaries, to see the snake's need for order not as control but as love, they start to find beauty in the very stability they once feared. Their marriage, at its best, becomes a living paradox. The snake, who once believed love meant possession, begins to see love as protection, not a cage, but a circle drawn in care. The pig, who once ran from commitment, begins to see marriage not as an ending of freedom but as its evolution. Freedom, they learn, isn't the absence of walls, it's the trust that the walls around you will not close in. Day to day, this couple must master rhythm. They need rituals, morning coffee together, nightly walks, quiet check-ins, that keep them aligned. Without routine, the pig drifts. Without surprise, the snake hardens. So they build a schedule loose enough for joy and strong enough for safety. They learn to argue productively, the snake softening their tone, the pig focusing their words. Over time, they realize that their disagreements are not threats but forms of communication. In social life, they thrive as opposites attract. The pig loves gatherings, storytelling, and hosting. The snake prefers quiet dinners and meaningful one-on-one talks. The snake might roll their eyes at the pig's endless chatter, yet secretly admire their partner's ability to make every guest feel special. The pig, in turn, depends on the snake's quiet strength to anchor them when the party ends. They balance each other, one pulling toward the crowd, the other pulling toward home, and together they create a life that includes both movement and stillness. Money can be another battlefield. The snake saves and strategizes, thinking in terms of decades. The pig spends freely, believing that joy is a form of wealth. They'll clash, sometimes fiercely, over finances, the snake calling the pig reckless, the pig accusing the snake of stinginess. But when they combine their instincts, they often find success. The snake's prudence ensures longevity, and the pig's risk-taking brings unexpected rewards. In this union, stability funds adventure. When it comes to raising a family, their contrast becomes strength. The snake is the planner, the one who ensures everything runs smoothly, from school schedules to savings accounts. The pig is the heart, the parent who plays, listens, and makes the children laugh until bedtime. Together, they raise not just a family, but a small universe where structure and creativity coexist. But the real test of their marriage lies in silence, in how they handle boredom, routine, or disappointment. The snake, when hurt, retreats inward, analyzing every word, searching for meaning. The pig, uncomfortable with tension, fills silence with jokes or distractions. They must learn to meet in that quiet space, to speak openly about what's unspoken. When they do, their bond deepens into something unshakable, a trust forged from effort, not ease. In the long arc of years, their marriage may evolve several times. There will be seasons when the snake leads and the pig follows, and others when the pig's creativity rejuvenates them both. They'll face temptations, the snake toward emotional isolation, the pig toward escapism, but if they keep choosing each other through those moments, they'll grow into a love that feels earned, not given. Ultimately, their union thrives not because they are the same, but because they challenge each other to become more. The snake learns to smile at imperfection. The pig learns to pause before leaping. And both discover that love is not about finding balance once, but about rebalancing again and again as life changes shape. A lasting marriage demands rhythm. The snake must learn the art of patience. The pig must respect boundaries and not mistake commitment for confinement. When they find that middle ground, they can build something magical, a home filled with passion, debate, and the rare kind of love that never feels boring. In that home, every argument becomes a new understanding, every tear a seed for laughter. Their marriage becomes a living thing, imperfect, evolving, but beautifully alive. Sex. In the intimate world of the Aries Snake and Gemini Pig, passion is not merely an act, it's an entire dialogue between body and soul, a conversation written in glances, sighs, and the rhythm of trust. When these two collide, the air changes. Electricity hums in the quiet like a secret melody. The Aries Snake carries a heat that is both ancient and calculated, a sensuality that isn't loud but undeniably magnetic. Every movement they make is intentional, like a composer writing a score no one else can see. They approach intimacy as both an art and a game of psychology. They want to know what moves their partner, what trembles beneath the laughter, what softens the breath. For the snake, pleasure without emotional depth feels meaningless, a hollow echo. They crave a union that engages mind, body, and spirit simultaneously, something that feels inevitable, fated, and real. The Gemini Pig, however, approaches intimacy with the energy of discovery. They live in the thrill of the unknown, in the surprises that happen when instinct replaces logic. Where the snake plans, the pig experiments. Where the snake savors, the pig explores. Their sensuality is fluid, playful one night, tender the next, unpredictable but always genuine. They're driven not just by desire but by curiosity. What happens if we try this? What if love could feel new every time? They bring laughter to passion, a disarming lightness that dissolves tension. To the snake, this is both enchanting and infuriating. The snake, who sees sex as a sacred exchange, sometimes struggles to understand how the pig can treat it as both profound and carefree. When they first come together, the chemistry is explosive, a perfect storm of desire and intrigue. The snake's deliberate touch meets the pig's spontaneous movement, control meets chaos, stillness meets sound. The result is a kind of harmony that feels alive, wild, and endlessly renewable. The snake is intoxicated by the pig's warmth, that unfiltered joy that turns every kiss into laughter. The pig is drawn to the snake's depth, the mysterious way their passion feels guided by something invisible yet powerful. Together, they find themselves caught in a loop of tension and release, the snake slowing time, the pig speeding it up, each teaching the other the beauty of their rhythm. But this connection, as thrilling as it is, demands understanding. The snake's instinct to dominate can become too sharp, too strategic. They want to orchestrate every touch, to lead, to know, to control the flow of pleasure. The pig, who thrives on mutual discovery, begins to feel boxed in when every motion becomes deliberate. They need room to improvise, to laugh mid-kiss, to surprise and be surprised. If the snake forgets this, intimacy risks turning into performance rather than connection. The pig, on the other hand, must learn that lightness doesn't mean carelessness. Their tendency to treat passion as play can sometimes wound the snake's pride or emotional sensitivity. The snake wants to be seen, not just as a body, but as a being of complexity and depth. When the pig laughs too soon, or moves on too quickly, the snake withdraws into silence, feeling unseen. And yet, this very difference is the core of their growth. The pig teaches the snake that joy doesn't diminish intensity. The snake teaches the pig that emotion gives play meaning. Over time, their intimacy evolves. What begins as raw attraction becomes an exploration of balance, the snake learning to let go of control, the pig learning to linger. The snake discovers that surrender is not defeat but transformation. When they let the pig lead, when they allow laughter into the room, they find a pleasure deeper than dominance, the pleasure of trust. The pig, in turn, learns the art of stillness. They begin to see that slowing down, staying in one feeling, can make every sensation bloom brighter. Their nights together are never identical. Sometimes, they meet in a slow burn of candlelight, words melting into whispers, movements deliberate and reverent. The snake's hands trace meaning onto the pig's skin, each touch a promise of safety. On other nights, their passion is fast and breathless, full of teasing and chaos, laughter spilling between kisses. Both ways are sacred to them because both reveal different truths. In these moments, the snake's intensity becomes devotion. They worship through attention, through the precision of knowing exactly where to touch, how to breathe, when to pause. The pig, meanwhile, brings vitality, the reminder that love should feel alive, unscripted, and a little bit wild. They might start with playfulness, but somewhere in the middle, laughter turns to tenderness, and the pig realizes that the snake's fire isn't just about control. It's about wanting to merge completely, to lose themselves in connection. The emotional aftermath of their intimacy is just as important. The snake tends to retreat inward, quietly processing what was shared, replaying moments like clues in a mystery. The pig wants to talk, to joke, to cuddle, to turn the heat into warmth. If the snake allows this, if they stay present instead of disappearing into thought, the bond deepens. The pig feels seen and cherished, not dismissed. If the pig learns to appreciate the snake's silence as a form of reverence rather than detachment, they stop chasing validation and start understanding the language of stillness. There are, of course, dangers. If the snake uses intimacy as a means of control, demanding rather than inviting, the pig's curiosity turns to resistance. The pig, whose nature is freedom, will begin to drift emotionally or physically. On the other hand, if the pig becomes too detached, treating physical pleasure as novelty without depth, the snake's interest evaporates. The snake doesn't crave bodies, they crave connection. Their desire is rooted in trust, in the slow-building knowledge that this moment, this person, matters. When both partners grow, sex between them becomes a ritual of balance. The snake's fire warms the pig's ever-shifting air. The pig's laughter softens the snake's edges. They discover that passion doesn't need to be perfect to be profound. In fact, it's their differences, the push and pull between dominance and freedom, that keeps desire alive year after year. Their best moments happen when both surrender, when the snake releases control and lets emotion lead, and when the pig allows stillness to enter their playful heart. In those moments, something extraordinary happens. Time stops. The laughter fades into silence, the silence into heartbeat, and they meet in that space where love is no longer a thought or an act but a shared vibration. For the Aries Snake and Gemini Pig, sex is not simply pleasure, it's transformation. It's where they learn trust, where they practice honesty without words. It's where the snake learns that true power is gentle, and where the pig learns that freedom can exist within closeness. Together, they build an intimacy that's alive, unpredictable, and eternally renewing, a dance between intensity and joy, between dominance and surrender, between two souls discovering that passion, when shared without fear, is the truest form of art. Friendship. The friendship between an Aries snake and a Gemini pig is a curious, vibrant dance between stillness and motion, depth and laughter, planning and improvisation. At first glance, they appear almost too different to blend, one all focus and calculation, the other an open book of enthusiasm and wonder. Yet that contrast is precisely what makes their bond so magnetic. They meet somewhere between reason and chaos, and in that middle ground, they discover a rare kind of balance, the type that challenges both to grow beyond themselves. The Aries snake doesn't make friends easily. They observe before they engage, preferring to analyze the energy of a room rather than throw themselves into it. They value loyalty above all, and when they choose someone, it's intentional, like selecting a partner for a lifelong mission. The snake is protective, strategic, and fiercely intuitive. They sense moods and motives like radar, often seeing truths others miss. Beneath their composed exterior lies an emotional world of extraordinary depth. Friendship, for the snake, isn't about quantity but quality. They don't crave crowds, they crave connection that feels meaningful. Enter the Gemini Pig, radiant, talkative, and socially magnetic. The pig moves through the world with the ease of someone who genuinely enjoys it. They make friends effortlessly, striking up conversations in coffee shops, on buses, in the strangest places. To them, connection is art, playful, curious, and constantly evolving. While the snake's friendships are fortresses built brick by brick, the pigs are gardens that bloom everywhere they go. They thrive on laughter, shared stories, and spontaneity. To the snake, this kind of open-heartedness is fascinating, and a little terrifying. Their friendship usually begins with intrigue. The snake notices the pig's contagious joy, that light that never seems to go out, and wonders what fuels it. The pig, in turn, is drawn to the snake's composure, that mysterious calm that feels both grounding and alluring. They see each other as puzzles. The snake sees the pig as a wild melody to be understood, while the pig sees the snake as a poem that refuses to rhyme. Over time, curiosity becomes trust. The snake learns to loosen up, to let the pig pull them into laughter they didn't know they needed. The pig learns the power of silence, the beauty of listening without filling every pause. Together, they make a formidable pair in friendship. The Aries snake offers the wisdom of caution, the intuition that feels almost psychic. They protect their friend not just with words, but with awareness, steering them away from people or choices that might hurt them. The snake's advice is never shallow. It's surgical, precise, the kind that cuts straight to truth. When the Gemini pig is lost in emotional fog, the snake becomes their compass. The pig, on the other hand, brings color to the snake's grayscale world. When the snake retreats into overthinking or melancholy, the pig arrives with laughter, food, music, or a spontaneous plan to watch the sunrise. They remind the snake that not everything needs to be solved, some things are meant to be felt. The pig's optimism isn't naive, it's healing. They don't deny darkness, they simply refuse to let it dominate. Around the pig, the snake remembers how to play, how to live without the constant hum of analysis. Their conversations are legendary, philosophical one minute, ridiculous the next. They can spend hours dissecting human behavior, and then suddenly switch to gossip, jokes, or plans to travel the world. The snake brings insight, the pig brings curiosity. It's a mental symphony, one that never grows stale. At 2 a.m., while the rest of the world sleeps, these two are still talking, not because they have to, but because neither wants the night to end. However, even the strongest friendships face friction. The snake's need for structure sometimes clashes with the pig's chaotic rhythm. The snake values promises kept, time honored, and plans followed. The pig, ruled by inspiration, changes course often, chasing the next spark of excitement. They might cancel plans last minute, forget appointments, or simply disappear into a whirlwind of new adventures. To the snake, this feels like betrayal, not because they doubt the pig's affection, but because consistency is how the snake measures care. The pig, in contrast, doesn't understand why the snake takes everything so seriously. They see friendship as fluid, a living thing that doesn't need rigid rules. To them, love is proven through joy, not structure. The snake's disapproval can sting. The pig begins to feel judged, restricted, even small. If they don't communicate, resentment brews quietly. The snake retreating into cold silence, the pig deflecting with humor. But this friendship is too powerful to break easily. When they choose to talk, truth heals everything. The snake admits their fears, that they value the pig so much they can't stand the thought of losing them. The pig, realizing the depth of that sentiment, begins to show up more consciously, balancing spontaneity with reliability. Both learn that respect doesn't mean sameness, it means valuing difference. As a team, they're unstoppable. The pig generates ideas in explosions of creativity. The snake refines them into achievable realities. The snake manages logistics, timing, and risk. The pig handles people, energy, and presentation. Whether they're working on a project, traveling, or simply dreaming, they amplify each other's strengths. The pig's enthusiasm draws opportunities, while the snake's strategic mind ensures those opportunities don't slip away. They make each other better. The snake steadies the pig's flight, and the pig teaches the snake to soar. Emotionally, their bond is a safe haven. The snake may not express affection easily, but their loyalty is unshakable. They're the kind of friend who will show up without being asked, who will protect in silence rather than promise in words. The pig senses this, and it softens them. They, in turn, bring emotional transparency, saying the things the snake feels but can't articulate. "I love you, you stubborn thing," the pig might joke, and the snake will roll their eyes, but inside, they'll treasure it. In social settings, they balance each other beautifully. The pig is the host, drawing everyone in with stories and laughter. The snake is the quiet observer, offering witty remarks or insight that deepens the conversation. People are often drawn to them as a duo because their chemistry feels effortless, one bright and open, the other calm and magnetic. Their friendship becomes its own little universe, one where contradictions don't compete but coexist. Over years, this friendship ripens into something profound. They become witnesses to each other's evolution, the snake watching the pig grow wiser, the pig watching the snake grow gentler. They may drift apart at times, the pig wandering, the snake cocooning, but the bond always finds its way back. It's not built on constant presence, but on unshakable recognition. They could go months without speaking, and the first conversation back would feel like yesterday. When life gets hard, they return to each other instinctively. The snake brings comfort through perspective, a calm analysis that steadies chaos. The pig brings warmth through humor, a reminder that storms end and joy always returns. Together, they weather heartbreaks, losses, and triumphs with a loyalty that never asks for proof. If they respect each other's rhythm, one slow, one fast, this friendship can last a lifetime. The snake learns to dance in the pig's whirlwind, and the pig learns to rest in the snake's silence. They gossip, dream, share secrets, and build worlds out of words at 2 a.m. when everyone else is asleep. And in those late-night moments, they realize something extraordinary. That friendship, in its purest form, is not about sameness but symphony, two wildly different notes that somehow make perfect music together. Business. Now imagine them as business partners, the Aries Snake and the Gemini Pig, two minds from different planets trying to run the same empire. When they step into a room, the contrast between them is electric. The Aries Snake enters with quiet confidence, sharp eyes already scanning for patterns and leverage. Every gesture, every silence is intentional. They have a plan before the meeting even starts, a long-term vision mapped 3 moves ahead. The snake's energy is cool, composed, and undeniably strategic. They don't speak to fill space, they speak to influence direction. Their mind operates like a chessboard, each piece representing profit, timing, or power. Then the Gemini Pig bursts in, all warmth, laughter, and kinetic energy. Where the snake moves with precision, the pig moves with spontaneity. They charm everyone instantly, greeting clients by name, remembering details about their families, joking, disarming tension. They're the type who can turn a hostile investor into a friend over coffee, not through logic but through connection. The pig's intuition about people is uncanny. They can sense moods, motivations, and opportunities that numbers alone can't reveal. The snake watches all this with fascination, sometimes admiration, and occasionally exasperation. They appreciate the pig's charisma but worry about the lack of structure behind it. To the snake, words must lead to outcomes. To the pig, words create atmosphere, and atmosphere opens doors. Yet, in that very difference lies their potential. The snake's strategy gives the pig's spontaneity direction. The pig's social brilliance breathes life into the snake's blueprints. Together, they could build something unstoppable, if they learn to synchronize. In the beginning, their partnership feels like fire meeting air, fast, exciting, and unpredictable. The snake drafts the business model, defines metrics, and builds a foundation of logic. The pig networks, markets, and promotes the brand with infectious enthusiasm. Deals flow in, clients respond, and momentum builds. The snake ensures stability while the pig ensures visibility. Every success they achieve is a fusion of calculation and charisma. The snake setting the path, the pig making the world want to follow it. But as with all power pairs, friction soon emerges. The snake's discipline can easily turn into rigidity, their precision into micromanagement. They can't help but want control, not because they doubt the pig's talent, but because uncertainty unnerves them. The pig's free-flowing creativity sometimes looks like chaos to the snake. Missed deadlines, impulsive changes, or emotional decision-making set the snake's nerves on fire. Meanwhile, the pig feels suffocated by the snake's constant scrutiny. To them, business is a living thing. It breathes, shifts, evolves. Rules are meant to be bent, and intuition often beats data. Their arguments are legendary: logic versus instinct, plan versus improvisation. The snake demands consistency. The pig defends flexibility. Yet beneath the tension lies deep respect. The snake knows the pig's charm opens doors strategy alone never could. The pig knows that without the snake's discipline, everything they build would collapse under its own excitement. When they stop fighting for dominance and start trusting each other's roles, their partnership becomes revolutionary. The snake shines in leadership, analysis, and vision. They see patterns before others even know there's a game being played. They make decisions based on evidence, reading markets like they read human behavior, through subtle cues and predictive thinking. They build systems, structure, and accountability. When the snake runs operations, the business feels stable, intelligent, and future-proof. The Gemini Pig, meanwhile, is the heart of the operation, the face of the brand, the connector of worlds. They build bridges with ease, bringing clients, investors, and collaborators into their orbit. They can sell a dream before it even exists, and people believe them, because the pig believes it too. They're natural storytellers, emotional translators who turn the snake's strategy into something people feel. While the snake negotiates contracts, the pig wins hearts. And in the end, both are needed, one to build, one to inspire. When they find balance, their working relationship becomes symphonic. The snake's precision filters the pig's ideas into executable plans, and the pig's enthusiasm keeps the snake from turning into a machine. Together, they merge reason and emotion, creating decisions that are both smart and human. The snake brings sustainability, the pig brings momentum. They push each other to see the full picture. The snake reminds the pig of long-term consequences, while the pig reminds the snake that innovation requires risk. However, if egos clash, the fall is brutal. The snake can become dismissive, viewing the pig as undisciplined and superficial. The pig, feeling underestimated, might rebel, taking impulsive actions that destabilize everything they've built. In those moments, the very qualities that once drew them together, the snake's control and the pig's spontaneity, become weapons. Trust fractures, and the partnership begins to unravel. The snake retreats into isolation, convinced they can do it alone. The pig, stung by criticism, seeks validation elsewhere. Without communication, what was once a golden alliance turns into a cold war of silent pride. The only cure is humility, a shared acknowledgement that both bring irreplaceable value. The snake must learn to release control, to see flexibility not as weakness but as adaptability. The pig must learn discipline, understanding that consistency is not a cage but a foundation. When they practice mutual respect, they become more than partners, they become visionaries who complete each other's blind spots. In negotiations, they are unstoppable. The pig reads the room, sensing who's hesitant, who's eager, who needs reassurance. The snake listens quietly, watching for the moment to strike, a perfect, precise comment that seals the deal. The pig makes everyone feel valued, the snake makes everyone feel secure. Their combined presence is magnetic. Emotion meets intellect, charisma meets credibility. Their approach to risk also complements each other. The snake, ever cautious, weighs every possibility before committing. The pig, ever optimistic, dives in when the energy feels right. Left alone, the snake might miss opportunities by overthinking, the pig might crash by leaping too soon. Together, they balance instinct and strategy, turning risk into innovation. In leadership, they represent two sides of success. The snake is the visionary CEO, the one who sees 10 years into the future. The pig is the public relations genius, the one who makes the world believe in that vision. The snake motivates through competence, the pig inspires through connection. Employees feel both challenged and cared for, both guided and uplifted. Even in failure, their dynamic is revealing. When a project collapses, the snake dissects it for lessons, determined to rebuild stronger. The pig, though shaken, uses humor and emotional resilience to keep morale alive. They remind the snake that setbacks aren't signs of weakness but opportunities to evolve. Together, they rebuild faster than most because they combine reason with hope. In the world of business, trust is the currency, and for these two, it's everything. Without it, all deals turn to dust. The snake must trust that the pig's warmth is not frivolous, but a form of genius that turns strangers into allies. The pig must trust that the snake's control isn't domination, but devotion, a desire to protect their shared vision from chaos. When they trust, they thrive. Because when the Aries snake and Gemini pig join forces, they are not just business partners, they are the perfect duality of empire building. The snake provides the skeleton, the pig gives it a heartbeat. The snake plans the future, the pig sells the dream. Together, they create something that neither could achieve alone. A business that's not just successful, but alive, practical yet passionate, rational yet radiant. And when they finally understand that their differences are their greatest asset, their partnership doesn't just survive the marketplace, it defines it. Dark sides. Every zodiac pairing has shadows, and when it comes to the Aries snake and the Gemini pig, those shadows are not just faint outlines, they are vivid, breathing entities that can either destroy or deepen their connection. Their darkness doesn't emerge suddenly, it seeps in quietly, like smoke under a closed door. What begins as small misunderstandings or subtle personality clashes can grow into storms if ignored. Beneath the glamour of their chemistry lies a battlefield of pride, fear, and illusion. For the Aries snake, darkness takes the shape of pride, not the harmless kind that fuels confidence, but the kind that masks vulnerability. The snake's pride is born from the same fire that gives them their strength. It's their armor against disappointment, their defense against emotional chaos. They crave control, not merely of situations but of feelings, their own and everyone else's. When that control is threatened, when the pig's unpredictability tilts the balance, the snake tightens its coils. They become manipulative without meaning to, subtly orchestrating emotions and conversations to reassert power. They'll use silence as a weapon, logic as a shield, and charm as a distraction. Beneath it all is a heart that fears being betrayed, rejected, or exposed. The snake's darkness is not cruelty, it's fear wearing sophistication. For the Gemini pig, the dark side looks very different but is equally destructive. The pig's natural warmth and enthusiasm, when shadowed, turn into escapism. They hate confrontation, dread emotional heaviness, and will do anything to avoid discomfort. When problems arise, they laugh them off, change the subject, or drown in distraction. Parties, new hobbies, flirtations, anything that postpones reality. To the snake, this feels like cowardice. But for the pig, it's survival. Their sensitivity runs so deep that direct conflict feels unbearable. They flee not out of disrespect but out of emotional self-preservation. Their greatest fear is losing love's lightness, so they run before the shadows can consume it. When these two collide in conflict, the dynamic becomes a masterclass in misunderstanding. The snake, ruled by fire and calculation, demands clarity. They want answers, definitions, closure. They dissect every word, searching for truth. The pig, ruled by air and emotion, deflects. They want peace, even if it means pretending the issue doesn't exist. The snake pursues, the pig evades. The more the snake presses, the faster the pig retreats. It's a vicious cycle. The snake's pursuit becomes aggression, and the pig's avoidance becomes provocation. Both feel wronged, both feel unseen. Over time, resentment breeds. The snake, hurt by the pig's inconsistency, begins to see them as shallow, unserious, incapable of true depth. The pig, stung by the snake's intensity, starts labeling them as cold, controlling, even cruel. Words become daggers. The snake's sharp tongue cuts with surgical precision, saying things that strike at the pig's core insecurities, that they're unreliable, naive, uncommitted. The pig, though outwardly smiling, internalizes every word until they explode in tears or vanish entirely. They ghost not because they don't care, but because they care too much to face more pain. The tragedy is that both are wrong and right. The snake's intensity does come from love, but love tangled with fear. They can't bear uncertainty, and the pig's light-hearted approach to emotions feels like mockery to them. Yet what the snake sees as flippancy is, in truth, the pig's way of coping with a fragile heart. The pig's escapism isn't lack of care, it's a desperate attempt to protect their joy in a world that often feels too harsh. The snake's silence hides a need for reassurance, the pig's laughter hides a need for safety. Their dark sides are mirrors. One hides behind silence, the other behind noise. The snake controls to avoid rejection, the pig avoids to escape judgment. Both, in their own way, are terrified of being unworthy of love. When the snake grows cold, it's because they fear being powerless. When the pig becomes evasive, it's because they fear being trapped. They reflect each other's pain, the snake externalizing it through anger, the pig internalizing it through denial. If they fail to see this reflection, the relationship curdles. The snake begins to manipulate, subtly guilt-tripping, testing loyalty, orchestrating emotional reactions to confirm suspicions. The pig, unable to handle the pressure, starts lying, small, harmless lies at first, then larger ones meant to preserve peace. The snake senses deceit and retaliates with interrogation. The pig panics and flees further into fantasy. Trust erodes, replaced by psychological warfare disguised as love. In professional or social collaborations, these dark patterns also appear. The snake criticizes the pig's lack of discipline, micromanaging under the guise of help. The pig rebels, procrastinates, or charms their way out of accountability. They frustrate each other endlessly. The snake sees irresponsibility where the pig sees freedom, and the pig sees tyranny where the snake sees structure. The emotional cost of these shadows is enormous. The snake, constantly on edge, begins to doubt their own instincts. The pig, constantly running, begins to doubt their own worth. They push and pull, wound and heal, love and resent, trapped in a loop where each is both victim and villain. And yet, if they can confront their shadows honestly, this pairing has the potential to become one of the most transformative in the zodiac. The key lies in recognition. When the snake realizes that their control isn't strength but fear disguised as order, they can begin to let go. They can learn compassion, not the kind that pities, but the kind that understands. They can soften their edges, speak without striking, love without possessing. And when the pig faces their tendency to escape, they can begin to see accountability not as punishment but as maturity. They can learn to stay, to feel discomfort without fleeing from it, to handle conflict without losing their light. When they reach that level of self-awareness, their darkness becomes their teacher. The snake learns that true power lies in vulnerability. The pig learns that freedom without responsibility is loneliness. Together, they discover a new form of intimacy, one where fear is spoken, not hidden, where honesty replaces performance. It's a long journey from shadow to light, but if they take it, they become unstoppable, wiser, humbler, more compassionate versions of themselves. Their dark sides, once destructive, become the soil from which their love, friendship, and purpose can grow stronger than ever. Only when they recognize this mirror can they transform. The snake learns compassion, the pig learns accountability. And in doing so, they both step out of the shadows, not as opposites, but as reflections finally at peace. Life goals. For the Aries Snake, life has always been a quest for mastery, not just mastery over circumstances, but mastery over the self. They are architects of destiny, driven by a deep internal command to create something that lasts. Their soul burns with the desire to transform raw potential into tangible achievement. They don't wander aimlessly, they move with direction, strategy, and purpose. Every chapter of their life is part of a carefully constructed narrative. They crave success, but not for vanity's sake, for validation of their ability to shape reality with willpower alone. The Aries Snake wants to be remembered as someone who didn't just live, but designed their existence. The Gemini Pig, in contrast, is born to experience. For them, life is not a mountain to conquer but a festival to dance through. Their goals are rooted in curiosity, connection, and joy. They seek not mastery, but meaning, and they find it in the richness of human experience. Where the snake plans, the pig improvises. Where the snake builds monuments, the pig collects moments. Their mission is to feel everything, to love deeply, to laugh loudly, to understand others through empathy and openness. They're not afraid of change, in fact, they chase it. To the pig, stagnation feels like death, and adventure feels like purpose. When these two souls meet, it's as if destiny places two different philosophies at the same table. The snake speaks the language of ambition, the pig speaks the language of emotion. And yet, somehow, they understand each other better than most. Their life goals don't collide, they intersect, creating a beautiful tension between creation and exploration, between focus and flow. The Aries Snake approaches life like a long-term investment. They build empires, whether literal or metaphorical, from discipline and endurance. They wake early, plan meticulously, and rarely forgive themselves for failure. Their goals often revolve around status, security, and mastery. They want to command their world, to earn respect through excellence. Every success for them is a battle won against chaos. But this intensity can be isolating. The snake's drive, while admirable, sometimes hardens into obsession. They can forget to enjoy the journey, seeing rest as weakness and uncertainty as threat. The Gemini Pig lives by another rhythm entirely. Their life is a mosaic of spontaneity and sensation, travel, art, love, friendship, laughter. Their goals shift with the seasons, shaped by emotion more than logic. Today, they might want to write a book. Tomorrow, they might decide to learn to surf or move to another city. Their adaptability is their superpower, but also their challenge. Without structure, their dreams can scatter like confetti, beautiful but fleeting. Still, the pig's charm lies in their ability to make meaning out of impermanence. They remind everyone around them that life's value isn't measured in trophies, but in joy shared and experiences lived. Together, the Aries Snake and Gemini Pig have the potential to become each other's greatest teachers. The snake teaches the pig the power of discipline, that dreams require roots, not just wings. The pig teaches the snake the art of surrender, that control isn't always strength, and sometimes, letting life surprise you is the bravest act of all. The snake's meticulous planning gives the pig's imagination a framework to thrive within, while the pig's playfulness infuses the snake's ambition with color and humanity. Their shared journey toward life goals is both complementary and transformative. The snake helps the pig channel their energy into tangible results. Under the snake's influence, the pig learns to finish what they start, to follow through, to find fulfillment not just in inspiration but in execution. Meanwhile, the pig helps the snake rediscover wonder. Under the pig's guidance, the snake learns that mastery doesn't mean rigidity, that life's beauty often hides in the unplanned, the imperfect, the spontaneous. At their best, this pair walks side by side, the snake as the compass, the pig as the wind. The snake provides stability and direction, ensuring their shared dreams don't dissolve into chaos. The pig provides motion and heart, ensuring those dreams don't become prisons. Together, they can build empires that feel alive, successful not only in results but in spirit. Yet the path isn't always easy. The snake's relentless pursuit of perfection can frustrate the pig, who prefers to flow where inspiration leads. The pig's inconsistency can irritate the snake, who values follow-through above all else. When the snake fixates on achievement, the pig might accuse them of forgetting to live. When the pig gets lost in exploration, the snake might accuse them of wasting potential. But these conflicts, when handled with empathy, become catalysts for growth. The snake learns patience, the pig learns perseverance. In terms of personal evolution, the Aries snake's ultimate life goal is inner peace through mastery. They strive to conquer their own fears and limitations, to transform raw ambition into wisdom. They want to lead, not just in business or society, but in understanding themselves. Their journey is one of self-refinement, like polishing a diamond until it shines from within. For the Gemini pig, the goal is emotional authenticity. They seek to experience life's full spectrum without losing their optimism. Their dream is to connect with others, to create joy, to live in such a way that every day feels meaningful. The pig's success isn't measured in titles but in memories, in laughter, in love, in stories that linger. When these goals intertwine, the result is balance. The snake's drive gives the pig's adventure substance, while the pig's lightness gives the snake's ambition soul. Together, they learn that meaning and mastery aren't opposites, they're two halves of fulfillment. The snake discovers that success without joy is hollow, and the pig realizes that joy without purpose eventually fades. Their partnership, romantic or otherwise, becomes a shared philosophy: build a life that matters and feels alive. The snake may plan the architecture, but the pig decorates it with laughter and color. The snake ensures longevity, the pig ensures vibrancy. When they walk through life together, they don't compete for control, they collaborate to create harmony between structure and spontaneity. In the later stages of life, the Aries snake often looks back with pride at what they've built: careers, legacies, achievements that stand the test of time. Yet if they've walked long enough beside the pig, they also look back with gratitude for the moments of joy, the detours that taught them to smile, the unpredictable beauty that kept them human. The Gemini pig, on the other hand, may not have followed a straight path, but they'll have lived 1,000 lives within one. And if the snake has been part of that journey, they'll have learned that some dreams are worth grounding. In the end, the true brilliance of their connection lies in the balance of their purposes. The Aries snake's mission is to master life, the Gemini pig's mission is to feel it. Together, they achieve something rare: a life that is both deliberate and spontaneous, both structured and soulful. The snake reminds the pig that dreams need discipline. The pig reminds the snake that life's beauty lies in unpredictability. If they walk side by side, their goals don't cancel, they complete each other. Final conclusions. So, are Aries snake and Gemini pig truly compatible? Yes, but only if they accept that love isn't about mirroring, it's about completing. They represent two forms of intelligence: the snake's strategic wisdom and the pig's emotional insight. When they stop trying to change each other, they evolve into something greater than the sum of their signs. Together, they write a story of transformation, from control to trust, from curiosity to depth. A relationship between fire and air, instinct and laughter, purpose and play. And maybe that's the real secret of their compatibility: not perfection, but the art of learning from the one person who sees the world completely differently, and loving them anyway.